Swimming pool. I'm putting up the swimming pool again. A little bit late, a couple weeks late. It's been cool. It's been cool. We had a cool spring and early summer. But now it's warm and it's not up yet. But at any rate, point is I'm putting it up. I'm tired of having it on the ground because the moles dig underneath of it. And I'm always battling weeds and stuff. Actually, where I used to have it, another problem we had over there was bees. But that's kind of a different topic. The main topic I'm going to talk about here at this point is I'm going to try and set up on a hard surface. And I thought to myself, and probably, entirely possibly, I really should just set it up. It's a bit of a slant. It runs off that way a little bit. I should probably just set it up like that, but of course I just can't. I just have to try and level it out. So I got some gravel here. I'm going to try and level it out. And then I'm going to have the discussion with myself. I might put a little Portland cement in it to kind of try and stabilize it a little. We'll see what I do about that. First thing I got to do is get a shovel and shovel some of this over there. I always spend most of my time on my foundation before I ever get the pool apparatus out. And one thing I always try to do is get a totally level foundation. I never have been able to achieve it. So what I usually do, since it's a circle, and I don't care about the center, I only want the perimeter. In fact, I'd like for the center to be lower. So what I'll do is I'll go from, if you go A, B, C, D, E, F, I'll do from A to B and try and get it level. Then I'll go from B to C, get it level, C to D, get it level, and D to E. And then when I go from E to F, it should be right, but it's not right. So then I go back around again. So I got a different idea this time. I thought, well, even though I don't want the center to be level, I could still use the center. And so this is an 8-foot level. I probably should find the center more exactly. And see, I've marked this out with red. I should probably mark it again, maybe. But I was thinking, I'll just get my point, my center point, and then from the center I can level all the way around. That's a new idea for me. So that right there is pretty good. Everything else is a titch low, but I'm getting closer. This stuff's a lot easier to work with than dirt. And I got an idea. I think what I'm going to do when I get it level, I'm going to mix up a bucket of watery Portland and pour it on. See if that works. Every year I say this will be my best installation yet, and I'm saying it again. It's like, that's part of the reason I install it new every year, so I can have the best installation. And then I find out what's wrong. Something goes wrong always. But right now I'm sprinkling a little sand to when I go to put the Portland in here. That sand will help fill up some of the pores, help to bind it. That's my plan. It's dripping right in. I kind of, don't want to make a sandy top. It's just dripping right in as if it's a solvent almost. I got it real level all the way around. I got it real level all the way around with my new system, my new center point system. I'm excited. This tool here is really helpful for smoothing, and it's got 2 angles. Choose which angle. It's a cement pulling. It's to pull cement or concrete when you're setting it. It's nice to flatten this so I get a flat top on this. You need to have the right tool as much as you can. check this over here. That's good. That's good there. That's good there. That's good there. It seems like it ramps up, but it's actually just staying level. It's good. So here's the stuff I'm calling Portland. They're calling it masonry cement. There's a type N and type S. That's why it's masonry. The stuff you use in driveways is type N. I think this is type S. I don't know. It's basically the same thing, and I might look it up. I'll look it up and see exactly what it is. One thing I know, they use a lot of heat to drive off the water when they make it. It takes a lot of energy. I think my dad used to paint this. My aunt his sister had a block house, and I think he used to make up paint like this and paint that block house. I could maybe paint this here, this wall. It looks like it was already painted with something similar. See, that might have some sand in it, I don't know. Anyway, that's not one of my primary problems right now. Right now I want to just make a kind of a binder for this little foundation I made. I don't want it to be like a highway concrete, but I'd like for it to hold together, not spew out like dirt does. Okay, so what I'm doing, I put this in this sprinkler can, this watering can, and I'm just getting everything wet with this. It's not very interesting when I do a video and you can't see what I'm doing. It's kind of hard to... Actually, the harder I try, the better I can do. Sometimes I don't try very hard. I might sprinkle some more sand on this after I do this. I feel like this is going to work. But then again, I always feel like my stuff's going to work. And frequently it doesn't work. In fact, it usually doesn't work. I follow the great leaders in that respect. So I put a little sand on it. This sand didn't filter down in like that other. You can see it sitting on top. I thought about using mortar mix, but I just thought that the sand would just go to the bottom of the bucket and it wouldn't work. So, but I don't know. I thought about it. See, now it's washing it down in, which is fine. The sand fills up, will help to fill up the spaces. That's how concrete works. Use different levels of aggregate, different sizes of aggregate, and so all the spaces get filled up, and then the binder holds all the aggregate together, if I understand correctly. And of course you could use bigger aggregate, you save money, plus you increase strength, I guess, probably, most likely. I don't know, I better stop talking because I'm not an expert. I know little. Now I was just about ready to say, well, I got the sand all ready to cover up, and then I was thinking to myself, well, the main thing is you can't have anything in the sand. Now you've got to have a, really smooth, soft surface. And then I found something. It's a root, but it's kind of a tree. Where is it? Let me do it this way. Right there, see? Damn it. Well, I have to just get that out of there, and then I'll smooth it back, and then I'll figure out which plastic I'm going to use, and then I got to put my pool down. It's supposed to rain, but I don't see no rain, but I don't want to let the sand get wet. So I wouldn't say for sure, like, so if I had the landscape fabric, sand, and then the plastic, and then the vinyl of the pool, and it's not sharp necessarily, I wouldn't say for sure this would puncture it, but every time I felt it with my foot when I was in the pool, I'd worry about it day and night. You know, once you get the pool filled and then it's poking up a little bit. Normally I unroll this pool on the grass and I get help to pull it onto this, and I don't have any help today, so I thought, I think maybe I'll just unroll it right on top of the base. Really doesn't take very long to put all this together once you have the base. Base is what takes the time. Then there's that moment when you start filling it and you say, oh, it's not right in the center, but even when it's got that much water in it, you can't move it. See, it could be a little bit more this way. Of course, it'll spew out a little. It's within the red. It's within my red circle everywhere. So anyway, then you try to get the wrinkles out. So I'm filling the pool with water, and I've got this way of doing it where I see that I got this hose, a long hose, garden hose, running on the grass and in the sun, although it's behind a cloud right now, but at any rate, allows it to warm up a little bit, and then I don't do real fast, you know, don't have it full blast. So there was a leak, which I found the leak when it was dry, and I fixed it, and it said leave it sit overnight. So I did. Well, now I've got another leak, and I found it I've got this plastic here, and so it can't just soak into the ground. So I can see it coming out in this plastic, and I can kind of, well, I found this one right here, I'll show you. There it is. So, and you could just barely see it right there. I can't really see the screen very well, but you might be able to see it. I can see the hole, but I couldn't find it before. I was feeling around. It seems like you should be able to feel it, but I think it doesn't stick up. It goes down. So anyway, what I think I'm going to do on this one is get that flex tape, because that, you know, does work underwater in spite of water, you know. I mean, self-adhesive, and because if you do this glue underwater, you have to hold that thing together, glue it, hold it together, and then pull it apart, put it on the thing, and you know, it's kind of hard. So anyway, that's my plan. Kids are using the pool even though it's not quite filled up. That's what we've been calling the kitchen gazebo, but it's not a gazebo. So it's put a sign on it that says barbecue pit, but I don't know. One of my best installations for the pool. I'm pumping it out now, and I had some criticism when I set it up. I set up a little bit late. I think it was probably like end of July when I set it up, and but the thing of it is, I always water the grass when I take it down. So the one thing too, when you say see how it's level, it was flat and level all the way across, and then also there's no moles dug under it because I put it on this gravel, and the weeds didn't grow up real bad. There's a little weed, but in the past that's probably have the weeds that grow up, and you can't weed whack close to the pool. I made it a little flat. I think I had a video on that, how I made this flat pad, and then I mixed in a little Portland cement in it to kind of try and set it a little bit. It seemed to work okay. I had one leg I put a block under. Right there, see? Otherwise it all worked pretty good.
Okay, so here's the last thing I'm going to show you. I buy these pumps. I've taken the base off, but this will pump down to a 1/4 inch, so I'm pumping out this swimming pool. So they always fail the same way. Of course, everything's going to fail eventually, but they always fail. They won't start when I plug them in. So here I go, I'm going to plug it in, and it doesn't start. Now if I kick it, then it'll go. And it'll actually go either way, so I'll plug it in again and I'll kick it the other way. It'll start either direction. So you want to start it in the right direction. But my question is this: why does it fail in this way? Why does it fail in this way? That's my question. So it seems like the motor starter has failed. Possibly water got in here, I don't know. This is not, it's not 100% free, but obviously, you know, it's not, I don't know. So anyway, that's my question. If anybody knows the answer, why does it fail in that way? And is there anything I can do to either fix it or prevent it from failing in that way? One thing, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put this base back on. I'll show you. Alright, so I put this base back on. So you can't see that flapper anymore. I just took it off so you could see it. This goes on. But if I put this on, then I can't reach the flapper. So I'm going to plug it in. And then I need to spin it this way, because that's the way the water flows. Water flows around like this and goes out here, and then it goes up there. So now it's going. So now I'm going to put this on, and then I'm going to go ahead and put it in the water and pump. But, you know, I'll get this pool pumped out, and then I'll probably have to buy a new, I'll need to buy a new thing, because I don't want to do this every time. And it's not good for it to run like this either, although obviously it can do it. I think it will get too hot after a while, for one thing, but because the water cools it when it's sitting in the water. So anyway, that's that.
I think I already said this in a video when the pool was still full of water, but this was one of my most successful installations. Part of it you can still see there's not a lot of grass growing. I always had grass growing like this weed, and it's hard to deal with it close to the vinyl. But the new thing I've got right now, for sure new, is I'm going to pump it out. I actually had my pump fail, which that might be on a video too. But so this guy lended me a pump, and it's a little different style than the other ones I've had. I was pumping it. I had that screen under it so that, because it has a way of collecting trash, it's this. It really isn't as good, I think, as far as that part is concerned. So I put that screen there so it wouldn't get clogged. Well, then I wanted to do something, so I says, well, I'll just let it siphon. I'll unplug it and let it siphon. And it siphoned down to almost nothing. And normally those pumps advertise they can go down to a 1/4 inch, and this is like, there's just almost, there's not even 1/8 of an inch of water in there. It's incredible, and it was on siphon. There's a little water over there, and one reason I suppose I had it in a low spot, I don't know. It was pretty flat. It's a pretty good installation. I mean, there's just not very much water. Even where that pump is, there's just almost no water. And to think it was a siphon. The siphon says, you know, that everything is sealed. Otherwise, if there's any air leaking in it, it won't siphon. So anyway, I just got to wipe it off with some towels, get this dirt, wipe this dirt off.
last little bit of water, and then we're putting it away for the winter.
This is how I really tell my installation how much the sand got ruined or eroded, or how much it's off. And it's really, this end here I think was exposed a little too much. I was a little too far this way because, see, I had this block. One of the legs was on this block here. So that's about it. Otherwise, I think it's pretty good. Pretty good. It's nice having that sand when you put your foot down, your bare foot down, your heel down. There's a little cushion there. Plus, of course, I see there's already a rock in there. When I pulled that plastic off, that rock jumped in there. So now I gotta dry this sand and put it in those barrels. I gotta make it smaller because I don't have enough fence. I have to fence it to keep the dogs out. And I don't have enough fence for the whole perimeter, circumference. I bought this landscape fabric to put down underneath everything. First layer on top of the rocks. And, but what I really need is, you know, you can see right through it, and it tore. I grabbed it. This might have been a little thinner, you know, piece in as far as manufacturing. I don't know. It isn't tore. It only tore in that one place. But anyway, what I really need is a 14-foot pool. I really need like a 14 or a 16-foot trampoline mesh. That's what this is. Trampoline mesh. That's good stuff. And I need one for underneath the sand and one for on top of the sand. And then I put the black plastic on top of that. But because of water, my theory is the water goes through it to the ground, but I don't know. I'm just making this up as I go along. What I'd really like to have is a pool house. A little bit like this, except concrete floor. They have to be a little bigger. And screens all the way around. Probably about 3 foot up, have plywood so the dogs don't tear the screen. And then a roof, possibly translucent roof. One disadvantage would be the sun wouldn't get to it as well. But keep the leaves and trash out. And then another thing is, when I'm doing this, I wouldn't have to fence the dogs out. The dogs couldn't get in. And then, and this would be dead flat concrete. So I wouldn't have to fool with this. See how this is built up. Then over the winter, this is probably going to kind of cave in. I'll have to redo it. And wouldn't have to worry so much about drying the sand, be under roof. What else was I going to say? It seems like there was one other thing. I can't remember. But I was thinking we could sleep out there too. Have a little extra space to sleep. But anyway, I don't know if that'll ever happen. Oh, another thing was we had a problem with bees last year, but this year we asked the guy to move the bees away a little bit, and we didn't have any bees this year, so I guess maybe that's not a problem anymore.